Hi, good evening. Thank you for joining our mindfulness Zen practice on Tuesday night. Tonight we'll continue our breathwork practice, and I'd like to stress again that our breath actually is like a superpower for us, although most of us don't realize it. We tend to take our breath for granted, and we don't really think about how we breathe until we have difficulties breathing. But if we can learn to breathe well, we can really influence our mental and physical fitness. So it is actually quite important to learn and train ourselves to breathe in a way that is most helpful, most beneficial for our mental and physical health. So, like most people, even up to like 5 or more years ago, I never really thought about how important our breath was, apart from during meditation. But other than that, I didn't really pay much attention to it. But there is a great body of scientific research that actually tells us that if we learn to breathe correctly, and one of the things about breathing correctly is using our nose to breathe as much as we can actually influence our body. We can influence the stress in our body. We can influence how we can learn to relax. So as you have noticed, when you are starting to get anxious or you're beginning to have a panic attack, you'll find it that your breath is very short, or if you find it very hard to breathe, you're like gasping for air. And even if you tell yourself in your mind, don't panic, nothing is wrong, don't panic, it doesn't work. Your whole body is in this kind of panic or anxiety attack, and you will just get carried away. And it doesn't matter how you try to fix it with your mind. And the very simple reason is that the stress or the anxiety response, which is part of fight and flight response, shortcuts your logical brain. Is actually controlled by your very primitive part of your brain called the amygdala, or some people call it the reptilian brain. And the reason for that is because it's in every single mammal, even a reptile. Like snakes will have it, because that is the brain that teaches or that responds to danger, so that you will actually fight whatever is coming or you run away from it. So the reason why it shortcuts your logical brain, logical thinking, is that if you need to survive, you can't really think about it, it's too late. So if you've had this experience where you've been walking in the grass at night, or in a park, or even if you're during the daytime you're walking in the jungle, and suddenly you see a black shape, like a black snake-like shape, you will immediately jump back, or at least stop, and then see what it is. You won't think about, let me have a look at it. And that's the amygdala response. It's you're basically trying to save your life. So then later maybe you look at it and you see, it's actually a hose pipe. And then you're relieved. But also you could have looked and see that actually it was a snake that was, slithering away. So the amygdala responds very fast, faster than our logical thought, because if you take time to think, it may be too late and the snake might have started to attack you. So it's a survival instinct, but it also comes into operation when we feel threatened by things which are not life or death. Like your colleagues or your boss may be giving you a very hard time. Or your boss may be maybe unfairly treating you, and then you feel this like stress, and that's your response. And sometimes when you put under a lot of pressure, maybe you're asked to speak in public. That's the thing that most people feel the most stressed out about. Then you start to panic, and when you go on stage, you can't say anything. That is your amygdala working. So you can't think yourself out of it, because it's not caused by your logical thinking, it's caused by something more primitive. So that's why the breath is very important, because it also shortcuts the brain. It doesn't go through the logical brain. And then it will send, if you learn how to breathe correctly, it will send a signal to the body saying, things are okay, you can calm down now. So one thing that we have to realize is that getting into a stress situation or getting into where we're already very anxious, it happens very quickly because it's part of our survival instinct. We have to respond quickly, as fast as we can, to threats to our life. And the time it takes for you to calm down will take longer, because we're not so worried about whether your body or your whole system is not so concerned about whether you're calm or not, because that is not something that affects your life and death, but a threat to your danger will affect that, so you have to respond quickly. So please be aware that when you learn to start to relax, it will take longer than the time it took you to get anxious or get into a panic state. So I want to go back and just get in touch with our breath again. And for the breathing that we do, we will use our diaphragm or our lower belly, because that's the deepest breath that we can take. And when we use our lower belly to breathe, that also stimulates the relaxation response. If we start to use our chest to breathe and breathe very quickly, like that, if you do this, even though you're may not be in a stress situation, after a few minutes, you will start to feel anxious, because that simulates the stress response. So we're going to do the opposite, and also not get the brain involved, because it doesn't really work that way. So we're going to kind of address the body using the breath. So let's first put one hand over the middle of your chest, around where your heart is, and the other hand down at your lower belly, with your thumb just on your belly button or your navel. Then imagine as you breathe in, you've got a little balloon down here. And that balloon will expand as you breathe in. And as you breathe out, it contracts, so that you can feel actually the movement of your hand on your lower belly as you breathe in and out. So let's try that. That will help us to breathe more deeply and improves actually our oxygen intake up to by about 70-80% or more. Okay, so let's relax first. So the whole thing about breathing is first letting your body relax, You can close your eyes if you want to. Then just empty your lungs, just breathe everything out. Now breathing in through the nose, allowing your breath to travel all the way down to the lower belly. Breathing out, using your nose, in, out, in, out, in, out, in. Just reconnect with your breath again. Out, in, out. Now just go at your own pace. So when you do this, you will find that your mind will tend to wander off, and that's fine. That's normal. When you notice that you're no longer paying attention to your breath, gently let go of the thoughts that you're having and come back to feeling for your breath again in your lower belly. Feeling that movement. The rising of your lower belly as you breathe in, and the falling as you breathe out. So breathe in, allow your breath to travel all the way down to your lower belly. And when you breathe out, start breathing out from your lower belly. You can do this sitting, even lying down. Or if you prefer, you can also do it standing up. Just feeling the rise and fall of the lower belly. So if you find that your chest is moving, then that means that you're actually chest breathing rather than using your lower belly. So see if you can experiment by allowing your breath to travel further down to your lower belly and not use your chest by moving it up and down to breathe, but allowing your lower belly to control the breath, to run the breathing. Okay, let's do one more. Then relax and return to breathing normally. So the art and science of breathing actually goes back many thousands of years, and I think the first recorded teaching on how to breathe was in the yoga manuscripts, and that the first manuscripts that they discovered was about 3000 BC, which makes that about 5,000 years ago. So when yoga practice began, at that time it was more of an emphasis on the breath, rather than nowadays where you go through a whole cycle of poses. At that time, it was said that the yoga masters mainly taught the breath and how to breathe, and using a limited amount of poses during the breathing. So I'd like to share with you one of these ancient practices of breathing called the pranayama breath. And there are a number of different variations. I'm going to show you one which I find is which I find pretty helpful, pretty suitable. And pranayama breathing is actually breathing through alternate nostrils one at a time. And as with the science behind breathing, there's also a lot of science behind this pranayama breathing. And there are many benefits shown by research, and a few of them I'll just tell you about. One of them is that it really does help you regulate your stress levels. It helps you to relax. It also improves your lung capacity, how your lungs function. And that's quite important in these COVID times. It also improves your cardiovascular health. That means your blood pressure will start to reduce when you do this. Also, it has been shown to improve your immunity, which is another thing that we find quite helpful nowadays. So the way you do it, and you might find it a little complicated, maybe not at the beginning, but just take your index and your middle finger and rest it on the bridge of your nose. Then you're going to use your thumb and your ring finger to close each nostril in alternate turns. Okay? If you're left-handed, same. Just do that. Okay? So the way it goes is that first breathe out, then let's close the right nostril. Okay? Then you breathe in through the left and out through the left. Once you've breathed out, close the left and open the right. And then breathe in through the right and out. Then close it. So to help yourself remember is that after you breathe out, whichever nostril you're breathing out with, you close it. And then you use the other nostril to breathe in and out. And once you breathe out with that nostril, you close that. And then you breathe in using the other one. Okay? It might sound a little complicated, but actually I can assure you, once you do it a few times, you'll get the hang of it. And it's actually quite simple. And this is very helpful for all the reasons I mentioned before. And it's part of this very, very ancient yogic practice. Okay. Also, what it does, it also helps our mind-body connection. It helps us connect all this stuff that's going up here with actually how our body is. So let's try. Relax, sit upright, relax, or if you're lying down, that's fine too. Then take your index and your middle finger and just rest it on the bridge of your nose. That's just to help your hand just rest there. Then we're going to start with the right nostril. So first breathe out, and then using your ring finger, close your left nostril. Breathe in and out. Pause, close the right nostril. Breathe in through the left. Out. Pause, close the left. Breathe in through the right. Out. Pause, close the right. Breathe in through the left. Out. Close left. Right in, out, close right, open left, breathe in, out, close left, open right, breathe in, out, close right, open left, in, out, close left, open right, in, out, close right, open left, in, out, close left, open right, in, out, close right, open left, in, out, close left, open right, in, out, close right, open left, in, out, close left, open right, in, out, close right, open left, in, out, close left, open right, in, out. Now try it on your own. Open left, in, out. Okay, let's do one last cycle. Relax and breathe normally. And just check in on yourself and see how you feel after this short few minutes of the pranayama breath practice. Do you feel a bit more relaxed? Or maybe not. So the science also tells us that if you have difficulty falling asleep at night, doing this practice can also help you to fall asleep. So, and actually a lot of these scientific benefits associated with pranayama breathwork are this kind of the same benefits that actually are associated with breathwork in general. That means learning how to breathe gently and deeply and more slowly than we normally do. You know, we breathe 12 to 18 times a minute. But if we can learn to slow it down to like 7 or 8 times a minute, we actually can influence our mental and physical fitness for the better. So, for all the other benefits of breath work, you can check our previous videos, previous Tuesday night videos. But there are a whole host of benefits, and I think it is a practice that many doctors and scientists are now starting to realize how important and how beneficial it is for us. And there are certain doctors and scientists who are recommending or counseling or teaching people how to breathe. You know, one of the most researched people is this I can't remember his name. It's called the Iceman, and he's the guy that can actually do this very quick breathing, and then he can withstand being immersed in ice water for an hour, 2 hours. And it's not just only him. The people that he teaches also can do it. So anybody can really learn the technique from him. His name is Wim Hof, the Wim Hof method. And actually his method is taken from the Tibetan breathing, where they teach the monks and nuns to breathe, how to breathe to keep themselves warm in the Tibetan winters. And actually it can be done. It's also a skill that can be learned. So, as I've said before, our breath is actually quite a superpower that we haven't really realized, we haven't really learned how to use to our fullest benefit. But if we start with this, we can start to feel fitter mentally and physically. So, pranayama breath is something that you can practice daily. And the recommendation is to start with a few minutes to begin with, and then build it up 5 minutes, 10 minutes a day, 15, 20, and see how you feel as you go along. So that's another breath work technique that you can use during this holiday season. I think many of us are stuck inside, and perhaps unexpectedly so, and it can lead to some stressful situations where we're forced to be away from our family and friends, and go through a prolonged dark winter without being able to really go out very much. So try this pranayama breathing or the other breathwork exercises that we've done before, and see if it helps reduce your levels of anxiety. So thank you for joining us tonight, and I hope you'll join us on Thursday, where we will do some meditation and have a Dharma sharing afterwards. So in the meantime, do stay safe and well, and wish you a happy Christmas and a pleasant time. Thank you.